Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky with Jan's Plans and Pans. Well, the coronavirus seems to be spinning out of control right now. We've hit new record numbers of cases, 86,000, a new record nationally. And here in Illinois, we set a new record yesterday. That would be on Thursday with 6,363 new positive cases. And so we certainly need to get this pandemic under control. Illinois has set some, and the city of Chicago as well, have set some, actually gone backwards, reinstating some of the restrictions, and those would include no indoor restaurant dining. And believe me, my heart just breaks for these restaurants, especially the small neighborhood businesses. It hurts. But these are the kinds of things we're going to have to do. Gathering limited to 25 people in personal homes, and that still seems big to me. Find out, where these individuals have been, if it's more than family. And we're heading toward the holiday season, Thanksgiving, and et cetera. So be careful with that. And liquor sales must end by 11 p.m. in all bars, restaurants, casinos, et cetera. I believe in terms of restaurants that you can have tents or igloos, they say, but it's starting to get cold, so I don't know how big an option that is going to be. There have been some breakouts where the President of the United States has had these rallies where hardly anybody wears a mask and people are packed in close to each other. And in fact, there was some new information that 82% of the counties that around the country where Trump has had his rallies have seen a surge in cases. And you and I know, I think, because we're from Illinois and we're pretty careful. If you look at that, it seems reckless. The other thing is that there's beginning to be conversations about national mask wearing mandate. It certainly hasn't happened nationally, but Dr. Fauci, who everybody has heard of, our scientist within the government, and Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who at one time was the commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration in the Trump administration. He's great. He did a town hall meeting for me at one point. Have really been emphasizing the idea of mask wearing and its effectiveness. Research shows that states that have passed mask mandates have had lower growth rates. So, there's kind of objective scientific data that would suggest that we should all be wearing masks. Not much to say about a relief package, I'm so sorry to say. Maybe after the election, we'll be able to move something that will be able to help our small businesses, help our families, provide money to state and local government. Nancy Pelosi has not given up, our Speaker of the House, in doing those negotiations, but Mitch McConnell is pretty adamant still. So I'm hoping that after the election we can move forward for some relief for the so many people, and many in our district, in the 9th Congressional District, that are truly suffering. A committee had been formed by Whip James Clyburn, Whip in the House of Representatives, in order to make sure that we have oversight over the COVID pandemic and that there's no hanky-panky going on. They released a report, and these are some of the things that they found, that 61 specific cases of political interference where scientific data was altered, delayed, or suppressed in service of the president's partisan agenda. Two, that $265 million was diverted from the Department of Health and Human Services and the Centers for Disease Control for an ad campaign to downplay the danger of the pandemic. Three, the Treasury Department encouraged banks to prioritize existing customers and high-volume clients, and that would be at the cost of the small businesses that we are trying so hard to help. Small businesses, especially those owned by women and people of color, and located in poor communities. So what I wanted to tell you about from today is I had a press conference. Senator Durbin was there, and it was with all of the refugee groups that we have in the Chicago area. And in the 9th Congressional District, we're like a magnet for people around the world. And that's one of the great things about our district, is that people come from everywhere and bring with them their culture and their language and their cuisine, and make the diversity so beautiful in our communities. This view is not really shared by the Trump administration. And in fact, he just made a decision to lower, once again, the number of refugees allowed into the United States. It had been a record low before of 18,000, and now the president decided to lower it to 15,000. That is like a drop in the bucket. There are 79 million people who have been displaced around the world, no fault of their own, forced to leave their homes because of war and famine and religious discrimination, all those reasons, and poverty. And we have had in the past 90,000, 100,000 on the list, which still is very easy for us to absorb. But what we learned today is that Stephen Miller, who is the senior advisor to the President of the United States, had a 30-minute interview yesterday, and the kinds of things he laid out was the plan for immigration under the second Trump administration. And number one on that list was to limit asylum grants. So clearly they want to make them even lower than they've said for this year. To punish and outlaw sanctuary cities. Chicago and many of our suburbs are sanctuary cities, places where we can protect people from deportation. But then under the next Trump administration, they'd go after us. Expanding the travel ban with more thorough scrutiny of people who are applying for visas to the United States of America. And finally, at least what he outlined, number 4, slapping new limits on work permits so that people who do get here would not be able to work. You know, cruelty is the plan. By putting these kinds of things into place, I think the hope of Stephen Miller and Donald Trump is that people will not try to come here. And yet there are a few places in the world better in normal times than to come to the United States. You know, I wanted to take just a second to read the end of the Emma Lazarus poem that is on the Statue of Liberty. Because I said after I did at the press conference, announced what Stephen Miller had done just yesterday, I said they want to drown the Statue of Liberty. And this is what it says in part. It says, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-torn, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. We were the golden door. We were welcoming people to the United States. Both of my parents came to the United States. Neither was born here and came from Russia, where Jews had been persecuted, and came here. It's very frustrating. There is one thing we can do, and that's vote. What a precious privilege we have, and I think responsibility we have to be able to choose our leaders. So you can vote today, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, at an early voting place, which may be different from the place that you go to on Tuesday, which is your regular polling place. Some of them actually have been moved. One thing that's really important is if you are not registered to vote, you can register and then vote at the same time, at the same place. You need 2 pieces of identification. One definitely has to have your address on it, so you can show that you live within that precinct or within that voting area. But I'm certainly hoping that everyone will take the opportunity before or on Tuesday, November 3rd, to cast your vote. And it could make all the difference in the world.
Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.